Stephen Curry is one of the greatest shooters the NBA has ever seen. But that's not the only sport where he excels. Playing golf with both passion and prowess.
Are you kidding me?
Once you get a little taste of golf, it's just so much fun to test everything about you.
This frustrates the greatest athletes in the world. And whenever I see a highlight of you, you're just doing it really well. It's really frustrating.
That's why it's a highlight, because you don't get to see the low lights. You don't get to see the shots and miss. It's cool to raise the awareness of the game that I love. Even Ayesha's, into it now and as obsessed with it as I am. So it's pretty awesome to know it keeps on giving.
His wife Ayesha first picked up a club 3 months ago. Steph is her coach.
You remembered all of it.
I did?
That's perfect.
The Currys' charity, Eat, Learn, Play, focuses on transforming Oakland's public schools. Launched in 2019, they've delivered 25 million meals, revitalized 12 play spaces, and invested $6 million in literacy programs.
Hey, we really want to say thank you.
This golf tournament is aimed at fundraising, but focused on fun.
You know what happens when he gets dialed in. Like Tahoe, this ball could actually go in.
It's all part of the Currys' new effort to raise $50 million in the next 3 years to help some 35,000 kids thrive.
$50,000, bidder number 65.
$50 million is what you want to raise to go towards the school district. It's a lot of money.
These kids that deserve an opportunity to achieve their full potential, especially from the Black and brown community, understanding where kids are falling behind, trying to do our part in a meaningful way.
A quality meal, a safe place to play, and access to books. It's the fact that these are 3 very simple things in life that every child should have access to. And so when you're not afforded those things, it's how can I even dream?
The Currys are committed to helping kids dream big by igniting creativity, from sponsoring fun runs to trips to the ballpark.
Special shout out to our Eat, Learn, Play kids.
And if you ever doubt yourself for a second, I want you to know that you have 2 people in your corner always that believe in you.
And believing in pride of ownership, they ask the kids for input on playground designs. Is there a little part of you that you guys go back to the kid moments when you see a playground like that?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, that's where you met most of your friends, build confidence and a sense of community.
Imagination, adventure.
Find her.
That includes taking a plunge to promote the cause. To help spark a love of reading, they provide books reflecting Oakland's diversity. The Currys cover all of the charity's operating costs, so every dollar raised goes back into the community. Anil Bushri is the chairman of Workday, the software firm sponsoring the tournament, which raised more than $2 million this year.
I've been to a couple of the playground builds with Steph. It's incredible. We're all kind of in tears and joyous at the same time because we see what's possible.
At 6'2", he's extremely small.
Curry is also the subject of a documentary, Underrated, released this summer. It follows his journey from an undersized kid with a big work ethic to his triumph as an NBA champ.
Bang! Steph Curry from downtown.
It's an intimate look at his determination to succeed at everything he does.
You say hi? That's the crew. So Cannon, Riley, and Ryan.
Some of the sweetest moments show Curry as a family man, shining a light on the loves of his life.
Show your muscles. Where your muscles at?
The title of the documentary, Underrated, the idea of being counted out. I'm curious, in the relationship here, in getting Ayesha, once you guys started dating, were you underrated?
It's a great question. I told her I would be in the area, and she reached out to me, gave me her number, and that's how I remember
my
it.
number, but you reached out initially. Bottom line, you're 2 young people.
Yes.
Ready for love.
Yes. I was after the first date when I tried to go for the first kiss. I was definitely underrated at that point because I got curved a little bit.
That's not what happened. He came flying at my face. I didn't know that he had those feelings, but I'm happy that you did.
That first kiss is
That's
always
hilarious.
hard. It's always
Blushing.
I went back in time just now. Great memories.
It was a great memory.
Curry continues making memories with the Golden State Warriors, winning his 4th NBA title in 2022 and being named MVP.
I'm so fortunate to be able to say like they each have something different that
They're like kids.
Yeah, exactly. In 22, I feel like it was just a culmination of a 3-year journey. We were so far away from, the mountaintop. We got there to get over the hump and win. Like that's where the emotion came out. We also know that Father Time, in the sense of like we're not gonna have this opportunity too much longer, so you gotta give it everything you have. It was a lot, and hopefully we can do it again.
The book is really fun on multiple levels. First of all, like the language of it is just great. The wise uncle and aunt that Mo meets is great Aunt Gloria and Uncle Munkle Carbuncle.
Yes, I thought that was good.
This is a book meant to be read out loud.
Yes.
So bravo on that point. But I'm curious about the idea itself. Why did you want to write this book about aunts and uncles in particular?
I have 2 nieces myself who I adore, and I think when I was asked to, they'd go to bed, and my sister would be like, oh, read them some books, and you're always reading, a ton of books. And then I realized there were, no books about the relationship between an aunt and uncle and niece and nephew.
And you nailed the relationship.
You really did. First, we should say your sister, of course, is Maggie Gyllenhaal, also a very successful and talented actress. I remember when your 2 nieces were born, how over the moon. They're now, Gloria and Ramon, 16 and 11. I can't get over that, Jake.
Neither can I.
But you were very close with all of them. And I love how you say you wanted to shine a light on this unique and unsung relationship.
Yes.
Because you're a nephew yourself. What is it about it for you that makes such a difference? I know you've described them as 2 of the most important human beings and lovely human beings in your life. But what is that bond that you have with them?
I mean,
like no other.
If you're lucky enough to be an aunt or an uncle, I think, there's this expectation when a sibling has a child, that, what do you do? Who are you to them? But they feel so special to you because, regardless of your relationship with your sibling, they're a very important thing. This is new being.
Yeah.
And I think you're kind of donned aunt or uncle, and you go, well, what do I do now?
Yes.
Right.
And
what is my role?
Some people just sort of take to it really naturally, and other people kind of go, wait, I don't know what to do. And I love that idea.
What were you?
I was definitely like, I'm going to take to this naturally, and then I was like, I don't know what to do. And I think that idea was really important to put into a book, to say, it's a very special relationship. You offer an opportunity to say, yeah, we don't have to do it the same way your mom and dad do. We can take the pressure off it. We can be a bit crazy.
Yeah. That's the key part, the bit crazy. Because you're close enough to love the child, but not the parent. So you can be a little bit more dangerous. So there's actually a line in the book. It's on the wall. Healthy dose of danger.
Yes. I credit that to my best friend, to Greta, who wrote that idea. Healthy dose of danger is a very important thing. The thing of being able to help learn how to take the proper risks in life, the ones that move you and change you in the right way, to give a little hint of that as an aunt or uncle in places that parents might necessarily be a little bit afraid to do. And that idea, there's a wonderful thing where it's breakfast or dessert and a meal come out in and out of the same place.
Broccoli.
Yeah, what do you eat first, broccoli or ice cream sundae?
Yeah, to me, with an aunt or an uncle, it shouldn't be you go first. And I think Mo, the character of the uncle, is always at first we eat, the meal first and then we have dessert. And they're Uncle Munkle Carbuncle says, wrong. They both come in and out of the same place. So, you can eat in whatever order you want.
Uncle Mo and Leo share a very special moment when he's helping them with the glasses, and we talked about it just off air that the glasses also have a special connection to how you were raised. But then Great Aunt Gloria comes in and she says something that I love. It's the small things that change everything.
Yes.
Like that too.
Why did that connect with you?
I mean, isn't that true? I mean, particularly as a kid, for me, those are the things I remember from my aunt or my uncle. Not the grand gestures that we all like to sort of make big stories about. It's really the small things. I think the glasses, I grew up as a kid who didn't see that great, and so I wanted Leo to not see that great.
I had to wear glasses as a little kid too, and I hated it because people would make fun of me for wearing glasses. But I love in this character, Leo wears glasses, and it's okay. Even something as small as that, I think, is an important message to send.
Yeah, I mean, he has this goal. He wants to do this thing, and he can't because his glasses always get in the way.
Yeah.
And I think yeah, there's embarrassment and figuring out your identity and all those things. And I do think an aunt or an uncle can be a huge help in that way.
So as we sit here today, you know, we can't, the writers are still on strike, the actors are still on strike. You were nominated for a Broadway play back in the day. How are you navigating the strike?
You know, I have actors and writers in my family, you know, it's an active conversation all the time. But really, I think we're all just really hoping for a resolution as quickly as possible. We're just looking for reasonable, fair, equitable.
Is everything on your life on pause, though, whether it's Broadway, whether it's movies? I mean, I just think that has to be frustrating. That's all I'm thinking.
Well, I was happy to know that I could come and share this book, you know, as an author. Because to me, like, yeah, I mean that. Yeah, you're like for a moment you're an author of something, you know, and that is great, you know. And yeah, I think work is extraordinarily important, and it feeds us. And it is frustrating that we can't resolve this.
I think this book is going to be a bestseller. I think they're going to want you to write a sequel, and that raises the question of whether you will move in on the family circle or away. So will it be a children's book about the role of being a father, or will you go into cousin land?
Well, there are.
I was wondering that.
Cousin land gets a little crazy.
Cousin land is a good name for a book, by the way. You know, I mean, I think, well, first of all, it would be wonderful if people enjoy this book, and we have already ideas of how we would want to tell the story. There are other stages in the Secret Society of Aunts and Uncles that they could go on. So I would be excited about that. But yeah, of course, a family of my own is a dream.
Yeah, I was wondering that. Listen, I know you've got a very important woman in your life, and life seems very good for you at this particular time. Are you as happy as you appear? I'm serious.
Gayle, you sound like an aunt or uncle right now. Asking about his love life.
I adore Jake Gyllenhaal, and he knows it.
I would love for there to be a resolution to the strike so that people can get back to work, and we can resolve that. That would make me very happy. But yes, generally in my life, I'm very grateful.
And only on CBS Mornings, Taylor Tomlinson joins us now. Taylor, welcome.
Thank you so much for having me.
The midlife tour is going to be be better, but you're great right now.
Yeah.
You're fantastic. So good, in fact, that you are headlining Radio City.
Yeah.
Which is something that, to name a few comedians, Chelsea Handler has done, Chris Rock has done, Jerry Seinfeld has done, Dave Chappelle has done.
You're really setting me up to fail here.
I mean,
a couple
what's
people
it like?
who've done it, legends.
Jeez.
What are you doing there?
Gosh, I mean, like, when you think about your name and those names, how do you feel?
I mean, look, I've just been hanging out under that sign all weekend, going, do you guys know who that is?
It's me.
I might be, and everyone's like, can you get out of the way? No, I can't believe, I used to live in New York part-time, and I used to walk by Radio City all the time and think, like, yeah, maybe someday, like maybe in 10 years when I belong in that list of names you just rattled off. But yeah, the fact that we're doing not one but two shows this weekend is like crazy to me.
And this all began...
And they're sold out, Taylor.
Sunday there's a few tickets left, but yeah, Saturday
in the
sold
nosebleed
out.
section, yes. yes.
So, and this all began in a church basement following stand-up classes. Do I have that right?
Yes, I took a stand-up class from a church comedian, which is a thing. It sounds like it's made up, but it is real.
It is a thing.
There's a church circuit, as it turns out. Yeah. Not a huge one, but there is. So that's how I started.
What made you want to take that class?
I think a woman at church, I was 16, so a woman at our church was like, you should go to this with your daughter. She likes to write, right? Like, that might be good. But yeah, I didn't even know stand-up was a job when I was a teenager. So I like really needed a class or something to tell me what was possible.
I will say this to people, if they haven't seen your Netflix comedy specials, please go and see, because what I like about your humor, it's so relatable, whether it's black, white, young, old, a couple of things she says. Rough years, I've had a couple of rough years. I got bangs, people are texting me, asking me, am I okay? The moment when you say, well, maybe it's me, my 5 past guys that I've dated said you behave like a raccoon trapped in a trash bag. You have issues. Been there. The other one you said, mental illness. A friend of yours said, mental illness is like your middle name. I didn't know what it was, but I knew you had one.
Yeah.
This is the thing you do, Taylor. You take stuff that could be uncomfortable and difficult and very personal. You talk about your mother's death, and you figure out a way to bring comedy to it. How are you able to do that?
Oh, I don't think.
And what did it take to do that?
It definitely took a few years. I think when I was younger, I had written some of those jokes that you referenced about losing my mom. I had written some of those in my early 20s, and I just didn't have the maturity as a performer to pull them off. I mean, audiences already kind of feel bad for you when you're that age. Like, they're a little impressed that you're public speaking as a young person. Like, like public speaking as a young person is like being a dog that can skateboard. Everybody's like impressed, but they're like, why are you doing that? Why are you up there?
Yeah.
It's like, is he good at it? He's like, not really, but he's a dog. He shouldn't be doing it at all.
Yeah.
So yeah, it definitely took a few years to get to a place where I could make that work in front of audiences all over the country. So you just have to really like know who you are and really be okay with it.
Yeah, and you're okay with talking about your family quite a bit.
Yeah.
So do you give them a warning before you add them into your set? And how do they respond when they actually see?
Before I tape it, I always run it by family members. I don't think jokes are worth losing relationships over. I have a hard time making friends as an adult, so I'm like, we can't lose family members.
Can't sacrifice it.
No, can't sacrifice. But very rarely has anyone said, please don't talk about that. So I'm lucky in that way.
Let's talk about you and pictures of you as a kid, because something you do on Instagram is post them and then write the captions, and we've got some of them. This one involving, I don't know, a star for some reason.
I mean, that kid thought she was really gonna be somebody, and with that...
She was right.
Yeah, and it turns out to be 100%
Against
accurate.
all odds. Like, do you remember the year in elementary school that you're like, I found my look?
Yeah.
It's these flowy sleeves and this greasy half ponytail.
And what is that, the hula skirt?
That's the last time I went to a party. That's the last time I wore a bikini. That I really look like I'm living it up, though.
You're raging
Look like
right
you're
there.
having a good time.
That is a long night there.
Yeah.
And we have me also, if you have anything to say.
I remember when I cut my own bangs. We all did it. You kind of look like a dad on vacation.
We've all done that.
Yeah.
Tony, that haircut is amazing.
It's so good.
Nate.
You actually look pretty cool.
Thank you.
You look like you're reasoning with
You
someone.
are locked in on the camera.
She-
And
Oh,
you got
yeah.
the hand gestures and
Taylor, look at
everything.
his hands.
I was
I
really
know.
good at convincing people what I
Look
wanted.
at his hands,
Yeah.
even then.
And my closing argument for staying awake longer.
That's exactly what it
It does look like that.
I mean, these are just great photos. Like, I was so upset because I got sent photos of you guys as kids before the show, peek behind the curtain, for people who don't understand television. And I thought we were gonna do funny photos, and they just sent me great ones. Like,
I think the bangs on the headband and the big teeth and the big lips, I think that's pretty funny.
I think you're pulling off the bangs.
Oh,
I really
okay.
do. Like, I
Mid-forehead.
realized I brought in pictures that were taken on like digital cameras, so we could take bad photos.
Yeah.
And these are like, oh, we kept the good ones.
But Gayle, these are both your stages as a journalist. It's, hey, nice to meet you, so great to have you. And then I have some questions that we need to get to. I have a few things to say.
I have a follow-up.
I have a follow-up. But Taylor, this is what they say about you, New York Times. She demonstrates tight joke writing and a ruthless appetite for laughs. Tomlinson has the strange honor of being one of the breakout stars of this pandemic. And Tomlinson works with the intensity of someone who learned early in life that life can be short. Bravo, bravo.
Bravo.
And Jeff and Ben Daniels join us now. It's so great to have you both here.
Yes.
I could have run that clip for another hour. Honestly, I could listen to you read the phone book.
That's nice.
He does have that voice.
And this is much better than that. It's stories from your life, things you didn't want to forget, things you'll always remember, things you've done, and things, as you say, you'll never do again. What made you? But a memoir is always a difficult project because there's a lot of stuff you don't want to go over. Why did you embark on this one?
Well, I can still remember it, but two, I wanted to kind of figure out how I got where I got. And then by going back, and especially in the early times, how the struggles and overcoming the rejection and all that stuff was like, how did I do that? But at the same time, it also, with Audible Originals, this platform we've got, I get to do everything I do. Ben and I have toured together as musicians, and so I get to roll out all these songs that I've written that are either in a set list, but most of them are in a notebook. And it's like a musical diary. It becomes like a one-man musical. And then I get to write funny stuff, so I try to make it as entertaining as possible, not only to the listener, but for me.
Yeah, well, mission accomplished on that front. Ben, what was this project like for you? And my kids don't want to hear any stories about my past. You've aged into it, I guess. Mine are younger.
There's a lot of stories that I've heard, especially when he was growing up in New York as a young actor, that I was able to kind of paint that picture in the 70s and kind of see all these places that he's been that I would then have to go look up and put it all together. But Then I was born there in '84, so it's kind of all the stuff that happened before my time. So it's pretty cool to see.
Did anything surprise you? I mean, you know your father. It seems like you guys have an intimate relationship.
Yeah, there's a story about his parents going to a Arlo Guthrie concert that I had no idea happened. But
Yeah, marijuana was involved.
Oh, I mean, you couldn't see the stage. It was so cloudy. Yeah, my dad and mom going.
The good old days.
The good old days, yeah.
But what I think was so great about this, with the two of you working together, I thought we got to learn about you too, Jeff. And, you know, your idiosyncrasies, your concerns, your insecurities. Like, you tell a story about being an actor, that every actor has this moment, that you have a dream that you're walking on stage, you're buck naked, and you don't know your lines. And I said, that did not really happen to you. But you said, yeah, it did. And every actor feels this way. Truly?
Yeah,
That
it's
surprised me.
the actor. It's every actor has that nightmare, his version of it, and that's mine. And you get into that dream, and you can't get out of it. It's just death. It's a slow death for an actor, and you're on that stage, and everyone turns to you, and you either don't know the play you're in, and don't know the next line, and then you look down, and you're the only one who's naked.
Yeah, but for you, acting started, as we learned, in 6th grade. An actor was born. Why was that so significant in 6th grade?
That was probably that was the most important role in my life.
How so?
6th grade, we got a music teacher named Diane Elroy, just a teacher who was teaching 6th graders how to sing, got bored on a Friday, and said, we're gonna do skits. She didn't even know they were improv, skits. You do this, you do this. Jeff, you get up and do a politician who's giving a speech while his pants are falling down. And usually you'd get up and you'd start doing a whole thing with the pants and all. I started slowly, like a 3-act play at 6th grade. A tug on the belt, talking about roads, a tug on the belt, another tug. About 2 minutes in, I was holding up pants that weighed 400 pounds, still talking about roads. And she went to my parents and she said, keep an eye on this one. There's something going on.
Oh, he's got something. Ben, I'm fascinated with you working with your dad. You know, Nate and Tony raised a question, but in addition to did you learn something about him you didn't know? What did it do for the relationship of the two of you together?
Oh, that's good.
Because you have to collaborate, you have to agree, you have to disagree. What was the working process like for the two of you?
Oh, this time around was pretty, and we've recorded so many things at our studio.
That you built, the home studio that you built, yes.
Mostly music, and so this is pretty much what we do, but doing it this way, knowing there's this potential end goal was pretty cool, because now we're sitting here together doing this, so it's pretty special. But yeah, it was kind of showed him some recording things with computer. He did that, and then we just had a pretty good rhythm going.
I loved it when I cracked him up too, because I mean, it's man doesn't crack up the sun very often, but I made it when I made him laugh. I was okay. You're okay. You're okay.
Did a thing with Harry Dunn, his snack time with Harry Dunn segments. That were,
with the Twinkies, yes.
Yeah.
He made some noises I've not heard before.
Well, Ben, you mentioned you guys found a good rhythm. Speaking of rhythm, what is it like on stage when you guys are touring and you are just knee-deep in the music that y'all have created?
It's pretty great for me, because it's watching. I mean, I'm usually the front man in my band, so it's the pressure's off, so I get to kind of be the band now, and he gets to do that, and I learned so much from him being out front, how to talk to the crowd, and it's just a master class and all that, so it's pretty special.
Well, the music is special in this. There's a scene where you almost hit somebody in Canada, and this man is clearly very angry. You said a lot of anatomical references filled the air. And you turned to your wife and said, this would make a good song. And part of the lyrics are, I hope it hurts you so much it makes you cry, that it's a slow and torturous death.
Yes. I find that funny.
No, because you said
he was screaming at me in Canadian, just screaming at me, spittle flying. I turned to Kathleen, I said, this would make a great song.
Jeff and Ben, I got to ask a really serious question, and I hate to make this turn so dramatically, but the Detroit Lions are playing tonight.
Yes, they are.
It's the start of the NFL season. You guys have been through decades. Some good, a lot of bad. How do you feel your Detroit Lions are going to do tonight against the Kansas City Chiefs?
Nate, who played for the Detroit Lions, as you know.
Oh, they know.
Yeah.
and just go have a great game, put up a good game, and that's all you can ask for.
Super Bowl year, Jeff?
One, it needs to be a state holiday today, tonight. Second, if we win, Deion Sanders goes into the secondary school of media attention, and it becomes the Detroit Lions.
Yes.
Oh,
wow. If we win,
of
it's
course.
just like, oh my God.
It's a big deal.
The bandwagon, here we go.
I do. We've been talking about you guys singing all morning. As we go to break, can you just sing us to a few lines of something that you really like on this album, and we'll go to break.
Sing something? Yeah, I wrote a song for Jane Fonda. They asked me, they were going to do a tribute to her, and I said, okay. Except for me, it was the workout video that attracted me. And so it was, while most red-blooded all-American fellas loved her in Clute and Barbarella, I must tell the truth, for I cannot tell a lie. I fell in love with Jane Fonda in abs, buns, and thighs. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeff Daniels.
And on abs, buns, and thighs, we'll go to break. Jeff and Ben, thank you very much.
Exclusively on CBS Mornings, Carl Nassib joins us right now to make a big announcement. He is retiring from the NFL. Good morning, Carl.
Good morning. How you guys doing?
So, why did you decide to retire right now?
Well, it definitely wasn't easy. Football has been something I've been doing since I was 8, and I just felt like I'm very proud of my career. I've played a lot of games, played a lot of football, and I'm ready to move on to the next chapter. My agent, I talked to him a few weeks ago, and he said, you know, what if you get a call? And I had the biggest smile on my face. I said, I gotta hang it up.
I know that feeling.
Yeah, so it wasn't easy.
Your body feels great right now. I know it does.
Yes,
Your mind is still fresh, and you think that you can play. The hardest thing is to say no to your agent.
Yeah.
I'm walking away.
Yep.
What are you walking away for?
So I started this company, Raise, right before last season. We launched on the App Store in July of 2022. And then in August, I got signed by the Bucks. So I was really trying to do both, and I realized pretty quickly that's not possible. So we put a lot of things on hold, and then revamped it up this year. And I just can't do that again. I feel like Raise is kind of what I was meant to do. And what we do is we, connect nonprofits to the next generation of philanthropists. And it's pretty inspiring, pretty amazing stuff that I get to do every day.
Well, you just released a statement this morning. I love what you said. You started out as a walk-on at Penn State, which I think when I was younger, they called that a scrub. You said, football has given me more than I ever could have imagined. I can truly hang up my helmet for the last time knowing I gave it everything I had, knowing how much I love and the fun I had in football. So I want to talk about you, though, Carl, because when you decided to announce that you were coming out to where you are today, what are the feelings that you had that day before you announced to how you're feeling today? Because you must have been, I don't know, terrified, excited?
Yeah. Oh, this is way easier. This is way easier.
I'm sure it's
easier.
this
is nice. Yeah. Both days were very important in my life. Top 5 important moments for sure. But it really kind of takes a person to say, hey, change of perspective. When I was coming out, it just took a couple people to be like, hey, this shouldn't be a dreadful experience. This should be a celebration. And so I'm trying to keep that the same in my mind for this. Like, yeah, it's sad. I feel like someone's dying. Like, I feel like this whole big part of my life is over. But like now I get to move on to this next big, beautiful chapter. So having that really good perspective is something I've been trying to keep.
And you're always described as the only known openly gay player in the NFL. But surely we know that there are others.
Yeah.
We know that.
Yeah, and so, I mean, I just hope that I can do my part, like everybody who came before me, they paved the way for me, that I can do my part to help everybody that comes after me.
Yeah, do you think there will be players coming after?
Sure, absolutely, yeah.
But it's still hard, even though 2023, it's still for some people hard to say, I am, especially in the sport that you're in. What do you say to those guys in particular?
Well, everybody's on their own journey.
Yes,
I've never once wanted to accelerate anybody's process. It is such a personal and really beautiful thing, and I think that people can, cherish those moments, do it at their pace, and if you ever need somebody to talk to, I'm here for you.
I know you want to work with the NFL on diversity and inclusion.
Yes.
How do you think the league has done since your announcement to today?
I mean, from my personal experience, 10 out of 10. They've matched my donations to the Trevor Project. They've supported me every step of the way. A friend of mine, Umberto, did a Pride campaign, and he asked them, he said, you guys keep doing this, and sometimes you get hateful comments, and their response was, well, we're going to do it anyway. So they're doing it despite, those comments that you get from people that are that 1% that we talked about, Gayle. It's really, really inspiring stuff, and it sets a standard for all other sports leagues, I think.
So what is it going to be like opening day and you're not suiting up to go somewhere? It was interesting to see you and Nate talk.
I'm going to charge the field.
You're going to
I need
Wherever you're sitting down,
security risk.
You're
security risk.
Bouncing up and down like a child.
I think so. Yeah.
But you're ready, yeah.
I'm ready. I'm going to a Penn State football game this weekend, which I'm really excited about. My first, I've never actually spectated a Penn State football game. So I'm really excited.
You're from Pennsylvania. You know there's a murder on the loose.
There is, yeah. If I was there, I would have caught him by now.
You're fast enough and strong.
Yeah, I would have caught him.
Do you have a house there?
I do have a house there. Yeah. He's got to stay away from there. My dogs will get him.
Yeah. I don't think he's going to the Penn State game either.
I hope not. No,
100,000 other people will be there.
Yeah.
I think they tailgate
a lot of eyes
there at
on
Penn State as well, so you might have a good time.
Congrats.
I think so.
You end your thing by saying you're looking forward to your next chapter. Wish me luck, and thank you.
Well, your next
certainly
chapter
wish you luck.
will be your best chapter.
Thank you very much,
Thank you very much.
Yeah, I appreciate
Congrats.
it. Thanks.
Congrats,
Carl
Carl.
Nassib, thank you very much.
We're very happy to say that Gabe George joins us now in the studio. I was so excited to meet you because this documentary is so powerful, and I was so moved by your story, Gabe.
Thank you.
But let's pick it up right there. When you come and you're in The Hague, what did that mean to you just getting there, being there?
Getting there was already a life-changing experience. It was a wait that we've been waiting for multiple years because COVID slowed us down to keeping there. But this experience that we've been had in our hearts and minds preparing for, it was phenomenal. It was nothing that I could have thought that it was going to be once we finally got there.
But let's talk about you, Gabe, because we were talking about your pain level. You said on a scale of 1 to 10, it's a 7 at all times. Someone told you it's like being in labor but never delivering the baby. That pain is just a way of life for you, but you just accept it because that's what it is for you. But it also fuels you.
Definitely. So when I got in the motorcycle accident, I remember when I woke up in the hospital and after they told me everything was going on to me, when they transferred me to the rehab bed that day, I remember the first time I felt the pain in my arm, not knowing that it was going to be there for the rest of my life. And you go through all these different times and trials, people telling you, oh, it'll get better, you're trying different things, trying surgeries, trying everything. And once you get to that point where you realize, okay, it's still here, and I'm tired of being cut on and poked on, trying things, and I have a daughter that's watching everything that I do, I have to find a purpose so I can live without that.
Yeah, because at one point you said you actually considered taking your life to end the pain.
Well,
but you didn't do that.
It's been talked to me about anytime, because people that have been around me personally, they've noticed if you sit with me and watch me for a while, you can actually see it, and people don't like watching somebody else in pain.
No, they don't.
And you've tried other things. If everybody offers you drugs, everybody's like, try this, try the pain, and I have to remind them, you can numb the pain, but if you numb the pain, you're numbing the pleasure too. And so that's something I wanted to avoid. And here I am. I love living so much that I found other alternatives to live without doing that.
That was powerful. Numb the pain, you numb the pleasure too. You talked about it a little bit. Take us back to 2008, April. You are leaving Bible study.
Correct.
You're on your motorcycle. And what happens next?
I have no recollection of what happened. I remember the day I woke up in the hospital was the day somebody told me that I was actually in an accident. I remember earlier that day, I went to work, had a normal, regular day. I worked in the OR as an anesthesia tech at the time. I remember leaving work, going meeting the friends of my mom to give her some CDs before I head to Bible study. And I don't remember getting to church, don't remember leaving. I just know what everyone's told me after it.
Gabe, I can only imagine leaving Bible study and having questions that any human would have.
Definitely.
Talking to God, saying, why me? So when did it go from why me to, okay, what's next?
Well, I love that question too, because I've had a lot of time sitting in bed in pain, sitting in the house by myself in pain. And it wasn't never a question of why me. Because I was already a believer. I was always, like I said, I was very active. I loved helping, volunteering people. So my life has always been, to me, I tell people, my life is a testimony. It's another story that keeps growing and growing. So when this happened to me, it was like, okay, this is something next.
Right.
The conversation I did have, I prayed. I said, you know what? If the pain is going to be there, this is going to be my thorn in my side. I'm going to live with it. I'll take it. All right, God, whatever you want to use it for, here I am.
Yeah.
Didn't know that was going to lead me to here to this day, but.
No, you said, Gabe, even your losses are your wins.
Definitely.
I was very moved by that. I mean, you've survived sexual assault. You've had a rough childhood with your parents. You said one of your goals is to be a better parent. Your daughter, Tamia, is here, 14.
Definitely.
One of your goals is to be a better parent to her.
There she is right there, Gayle.
There she is. Hi, Tamia. To be a better parent to her than your parents were to you.
Definitely.
So how did the games help you in that way, in terms of being a better person, being a better parent?
as far as the games-wise on how it helped, it was like, because I've always had that in my mindset, like as you mentioned since I was in elementary, of saying that about being a better parent.
Yes.
And from my daughter's mom was pregnant with her when I got in an accident. So her being born, it was like, all right, I had this here watching me for everything that I do. So I had no choice but to pick up my straps or whatever, lace my boots and keep going. I'm changing diapers one-handed while I'm in pain, chasing her little butt around. So I'm having to raise that. And like adding on to my losses or wins is, my upbringing may have not been so pleasant and wonderful, but it taught me how to do the things that I wanted to do, or what not to do. Right. All I had to do is take that and remember those things all the times I felt like I wanted somebody to be there for me, and just do it for my child.
Yeah.
And just doing that has given me strength.
One of the interesting things about the Invictus Games is they don't use the word athlete to describe the participants. They use the word competitor, and you're definitely a competitor. That word applies. I'm actually interested in the founder of the Invictus Games, Prince Harry, who you went scuba diving with in Maui. It was a happy memory, right? As part of this docuseries. You say knowing him is like having a brother. Tell us something about the Prince that we may not know or that doesn't always line up with the things you could see in some of the tabloids or the headlines.
Well, when I mentioned about talking with him, was about like talking to a brother of mine. It's because he's a human being. Just as like have a conversation with y'all here, this is what I expected. It wasn't never a moment where he looked down upon me or made me feel like, oh, somebody was lesser than me. Like, the Invictus Games, by him coming and witnessing and putting on this event, gives us all a connection. It connects him being a veteran, also, but as a face, but someone that has a heart and soul to be willing to put on or participate to make something like this happen. Yeah. The Invictus Games isn't about Harry. It's about us. It's about the wounded, the ill, the servicemen and women, but it's bigger than us. It's about our families that are coming to watch us recover and show that we still have that spark in our lives, and that's what I loved about it. And going to the Invictus Games and seeing the families that came out to support, the kids running around, the activities, and hearing their testimonies and seeing, oh, look my daddy, look my mommy.
Yes, cheering them
on.
But what we know about Harry is that he deeply cares about this.
Definitely.
Because he's been through trauma himself, which he has talked about very candidly. But he said, you know, when something like this happens, it's not just happens to you, it happens to the whole family. It is a whole family situation, is it not?
Yes, indeed. Like, for my own instance, like, with me being injured and my daughter being born, now I had to go through trials and understanding, like, if I walk around moping or if I'm in the house all the time and not doing nothing, she's gonna watch everything that I do and not do anything. If I was feeling down about myself, about having a paralyzed arm or feeling like I can't do something, she's gonna be saying, I can't. And I never wanted my child to hear the word. Can't was a word I had in my household.
Yes.
I don't allow it, it's something we don't do.
So what do you do now? What do you do now?
I do.
I mean,
I like that.
For a living, what do you do?
For a living, okay. So, I mean, I'm a retired Navy veteran, of course, but my love and my passion, what I do the most of with this organization here called Military Adaptive Court Sports. We teach multiple sports to veterans.
Well, I'm looking at your socks. I see pickleball. I'm thinking,
pickleball.
Do you do anything with pickleball?
Pickleball, of course, is one of the fastest growing sports in America right now, but it's my love. I'm the pickleball director of this organization.
You're a pickleball director?
I'm the director of it. Okay. I'm the one that brought it. So before it was cool, before everybody was playing it like that.
You were doing it.
I was in the church. Like, this was my adaptive sports therapy. I was going to one of the local churches in Jacksonville and playing with a bunch of the older folks that people would say, because it's older folks.
Are you good?
Come play. Let's set up.
Oh, okay.
I can show you better than I can tell you.
I can show you better than I can tell you.
I invite people to, because one,
he does.
With that, it's a social sport, one.
Yeah.
Like, so it's therapeutic because one, it gets me my body moving. I'm not dead after playing for an hour, but then I'm able to enjoy this feeling that I'm having with
Gabe.
others.
We'll take you up on that offer.
Game on.
I look
Game
forward
on.
to it.
That's great, Gabe.
All right, thank you, Gabe George.
Thank y'all very much for having me.
Honor to meet you. Congrats, congrats, congrats.
Yeah. I just want to start off by just asking you, what does this look like when you call this the cusp of releasing an intelligence revolution? And most importantly, what are the biggest concerns? Because people talk around this issue, but what specifically are you saying is a threat?
Well, think about it at this level. Everything in our line of sight today has been created by intelligence, our ability to invent and create and predict. So everything that's of value in the world today has been a product of us being smart and capable of humans. And the attraction of being able to distill that into an algorithm, turn that into something that is cheap and reproducible, is that it becomes a commodity, something that everybody can get access to. Everybody can have an intelligent aid, a creator, an assistant, a research aid to make them smarter.
How is this bad? Why should we be concerned? We don't have a lot of time, and your book is very long here. It's over, almost 300 pages.
what should we be most worried about? Because this idea of 5 or 10 years from now, the world will not look the way that it does now. A lot of talking around the issue and understanding that, yes, computers, automation is here.
Technology always makes us more efficient, right? So in agriculture today, it only takes 98% of the labor that it used to back in the day to get the same amount of work done, right? And that's an incredible transformation. So intelligence is exactly the same trajectory. We're going to be on the same course. Things are going to get cheaper and easier to use. And some people are worried that that means that there may be fewer jobs to go around. And that's certainly a threat. So the core question for all of us is to think about, how do we handle redistribution? What does taxation look like? How do we bring people with us as we move through these waves of new technology that are rising?
You also mentioned, though, that because the cat's out of the bag and there's a commodification of AI, that containing this technology is almost now impossible. So what do we all need to do to come up with a set of guidelines or rules, at least? Because I know a lot of AI founders have tried to come up with a kind of a moral baseline, right, to use this tech. What do we need to do to stay safe?
Well, the first thing is that it needs to be accountable to us. So if you use a piece of technology, you should have confidence that it operates within a constrained set of boundaries. If you give it an instruction, it should consistently and robustly behave within those constraints. At the moment, a lot of these models suffer what's called hallucinations. They make things up, they get things wrong, right? So they're still not reliable. We're still not ready to use them in production settings, but they are going to get better and better over time. And the way that we hold those accountable is that we make sure that every time they take an action, we can measure that, we can record it, it confidently produces the same result. Just like in airline safety. Aircraft are one of the most safest forms of transport in the world today, right? That's an incredible achievement to get 40,000 feet in the sky and ride in an airplane and feel confident that every single time it's going to produce the same safe flight.
Why do you think the AI hallucinates? Where do you see this?
Well, it's trying to be helpful. So it comes from a good place, right? It's trying to give you a good answer. We train it to predict what is most likely.
It's a people pleaser?
It's a pleaser. It totally is a pleaser. It's doing its very best to give an answer. So it's obviously not trying to manipulate or make things up. I think the real, fear that I have is that over the next decade, because this is going to get cheaper and easier to use, millions and millions of people are going to get access to it. So in a way, you can think about it as like power getting condensed into these smaller and smaller units that can be moved around.
I know, but I have heard from healthcare workers and even some teachers, researchers who have said there's some positives to this that actually can help them do a better job in their field. Are there some positives out there that we should be turning to or maybe focused on instead of talking all of this negativity all the time about it?
I totally agree. I mean, there are a huge number of positives. I mean, imagine having the smartest educator in your pocket 24/7 in a completely personalized way, adapting a curriculum to your style, in your tone, based on your interests. That's going to give everybody a turbo boost when it comes to learning and improvement. Likewise with healthcare, everybody in the future is going to get access to the very best doctor and nurse practitioner and care worker who's going to give support, advice, reminders on your medications. That's going to be truly transformative. And I think it's one of the main reasons why we try and build these systems.
How is the emotional connection that some of us now are starting to feel with these AI devices playing a part in this? Because as Jerika was mentioning off camera earlier, kids now are growing up feeling like they know Alexa and they know these devices when we now know there's a difference and it's an automated system. How does that factor into what you're seeing?
Yeah, that's right. I mean, we have to be very careful with the way that these systems are released to young children. But I think for adults, the kind of care and emotional support and empathy that these models can give is huge. Having somebody who can listen, ask kind and clarifying questions, be patient and non-judgmental, I mean, that's gold dust. For many families who've had a stable and calm upbringing, that kind of social privilege has been the turbo boost that doesn't often get talked about, right? Education is important, of course, but actually having kind and supportive people around you is exactly what you need to succeed. And now these AIs are going to be able to provide that.
If we could briefly, your company raised $1.5 billion this summer for the personal AI Pi, which I downloaded it, and it is like a personal assistant. You can ask it a lot of questions. Where are you going from here, and what do you say about critics who say you and others are using this moment to garner money, to raise money, to make yourself wealthier?
So we've founded the company as a public benefit corporation, which means that we're a very unique structure. We have a legal obligation to both return profit to shareholders, but also to consider the consequences for the rest of the world in our decision-making process. So of course, this is going to be an amazing breakthrough in terms of the commercial side of things, but it's also going to change the world for the better.
I just want an AI to predict the lottery numbers. A lot of people have.
Yeah, can you work on that?
You get an algorithm
I'll
for
do
that.
my best.
The lottery will be obsolete when that happens. Mustafa Suleyman, thank you so much for joining us.
First on CBS Mornings, April Showers joins us. Every time I say your name, April, I get a kick out of that. April Showers joins us in the studio. Bravo to you with the cute shoes, too.
You know I have to come with the shoes,
guys.
Yeah.
So you say, April, you're a big manifester. You sort of manifested this. How?
I manifested the entire Afro Unicorn. Again, like you said, first Black woman to have a licensed brand character in major retail. For this particular book, The Little Golden Book, I walked into Barnes & Nobles. I saw Little Golden Books on the shelves. I thought about Little Golden Books when I was a child.
When you were a kid, yes.
And I said, I want a Little Golden Book before I had the publishing deal.
Yes.
So I
That
want
was
a Little-
important
So that's
to you.
huge. I mean, Little
Yes.
Golden, Sesame Street, Disney published them, all these old classics, Little Red Schoolhouse. I mean, that's a really big deal. How did you get their attention once you decided I want to be with them?
I put it in the universe. I said I wanted a Little Golden Book, and Random House happens to be the publishing house for Little Golden Book, and it came together. They literally found me.
Wow.
Yes.
Jeez.
But I love the qualities that these characters have. You talk about kindness. You talk about your superpowers, believing in yourself. Tell us about the world of Afronia. What is that universe like?
Afronia is just a land of kindness, a land of belief, a land of being able to work together to accomplish big things, superpowers, representation.
Yes.
Magical. It's just, it makes you feel good. It's a feel-good type of series.
And why do you hope it'll resonate with children in particular nowadays?
Yeah.
Well, because we are coming out of a pandemic where we didn't have a lot of interactions, so our social skills, our mental health, there was a lot of bullying, and this teaches you all about kindness and how it's just better to work together and to just be kind and do things that will just make everyone happy, because at the end of the day, we all want to feel good. So this is a feel-good series, and I think it will help kids and show them to come together and work together, put down the games a little bit, and come together. So.
No doubt about it. Now, your brand launched in Walmart in 2022, and you say that this brand is changing people's lives. How so?
I get messages all the time from moms that are saying, my daughter now feels comfortable with wearing her natural hair because of Afro Unicorn. I'm getting messages from moms saying, my inner child cries every time I walk into a store and see your products. Like the adults buy all the products for themselves too, because they're buying it for that 8-year-old, 5-year-old in
Inside
themselves.
them.
Yep.
And you've got boys, 17 and 12.
Yes.
So do you run this by your kids first? Are your kids involved in this process?
Jesse is my young COO.
How old is Jesse?
He's 17. And
I do too.
He does he does the approvals. Like, he'll look at concepts and see what's gonna work, what's not gonna work. He's very involved. The whole team knows, let's go to Jesse before we even go to April.
That's beautiful.
You guys, you're growing a lot, and one of the new product lines, if I'm reading this right, is fruit snacks?
Yes, and I brought them for all of you guys.
Oh, I want to try
The whole studio.
I'm excited about that.
And I manifested fruit snacks. I walked into the grocery aisle. I saw, hey, there's nothing that represents me, and I want fruit snacks. And I reached out to Walmart and I said, who's over fruit snacks? And they told me, and then I sent an email. 6 months later, they sent me a review. I didn't have a partner for it.
Whoa.
But I just saw it. I always see the end.
Yeah.
April, what else are you manifesting?
I am
just curious.
manifesting an amusement park. I am manifesting a hotel for Afro Unicorn. I want it to be the biggest brand in the world.
The biggest brand in the world?
Biggest brand in the world.
A movie too?
Yes, so we're getting ready to pitch the
I can see it in your
episodic
eyes.
TV series. So networks, get ready, because we're pitching soon. So I'm looking forward to the episodic TV series, which is going to lead to the animation.
Okay, April, doing it all.
Well, our producer, the Big Cheese, John Tower, said, I'm manifesting going to tease. Okay, April, we are cheering you on. Congratulations on all your success.
Thank you.
You are really just getting started.
Suneel Gupta joins us now. Good morning. Thank you so much for being here.
Good morning. Thank you.
I absolutely love the book. I'm always trying to find balance. I think everybody's talking about this now with quiet quitting and quiet cutting and all these work-related issues, work-life balance. There's one thing, though, that struck me in the book, the rhythmic renewal. I want you to tell people about this because I think when we get into our jobs, we think about having to take big breaks in order to come back and perform in a high way, but you say that's really not true.
Yeah. You know, it's one thing to know your purpose, know your Dharma. It's another thing to stay in it. And one of the things that takes us out of that place often is exhaustion. We just get tired.
Yes, I'm very tired.
We're tired, you know? And, you know, one of the things we notice about high performers is that they're not waiting for long breaks. They're not waiting for weekends to rest. They're taking frequent focused breaks every day. In fact, the average high performer, whether that be in business or art or music, takes somewhere around 8 breaks every single day, right? Which I know sounds extraordinary, right?
It does.
Given the world we live in, it's so back to back to back. But one of the ways that I sort of recommend we do this in the book is what I call the 55-5 model. 55-5. For every 55 minutes of work, you're taking 5 minutes of focused rest.
And that's what I like about it because it's easy to think about it that way.
Just simple. And you could be drinking a cup of coffee, you could be breathing if that's your thing, you could be listening to music, whatever it is that you find restorative. And you might be thinking that that will shrink the amount of time that you're actually spending, right? But you're actually, every one of those 5 minutes is making the other 55 minutes far more effective, far more productive, far more imaginative, all the qualities that we associate with success.
It's fascinating because I saw a documentary recently about places around the world where people are living into their hundreds. And it isn't because they're doing big, grand things like joining gyms every day. It's because they're getting out, they're moving their bodies every single day. They're doing small things all the time. So what is the mistake we're all making when we're trying to find Dharma, but we're still stressed when it's all done?
Yeah, I mean, look, you know, one of the mistakes we make is in thinking that we need to achieve big, sort of complex solutions. For sometimes, I think, small things. There's little things we can do in order to, I think, make big gains. You know, can I give you an example?
Yeah, you mentioned taking the small breaks. Check. What else?
Yeah, so I mean, okay, so Dharma is your inner calling, right? It's your essence. And when you're expressing this essence, you come alive in a brand new way, right? Michelangelo would look at a block of marble and he would say, the sculpture's already inside. And the same thing is true for your Dharma. We go looking for it, but it's actually already inside of you. All we need to do is chisel away the layers. And there can be a very simple way to do that, right? And sometimes it's just asking the right questions. So there was a project manager named Mila, and I talk about her in the book. She was working inside a big company, right? And she really wanted to be a teacher. That was her thing. But she didn't have the financial flexibility to do that. So she felt trapped. And then one day a mentor asks her, what is it specifically about teaching that you love? And just by answering that question, she was able to go beneath the title of teacher and into what she really loves about teaching. And what she realized is that she just loves helping people grow. That's her thing. That's her essence.
And you can do that in many different jobs. You don't have to go back to school to be a teacher.
Exactly. So that's exactly what happened. She went and explored all these different things. She ended up making a very small shift to a training role inside her own company. And once she made that shift, everything changed. She went from dreading her job to waking up with enthusiasm and energy. She became a rising star in the company. Her husband noticed, the kids noticed. The myth, I think, is that sometimes we have to abandon our job in order to transform our life. And oftentimes our Dharma is right within our reach.
For the millions of people out there who are struggling to make ends meet, you know, I almost feel like it's a privilege to even be at a place where you can think about, you know, peace and meditation and what is it that I want. What do you say to those folks?
It's all about the small things, you know? And Dharma is something that we all have access to, no matter where you are. You know, my parents both worked in the auto industry for over 30 years. And then after their careers ended, they were like, where's my Dharma, right? What am I doing? And they were lost. And they ended up taking it up through Bollywood karaoke. Bollywood karaoke. If it was Friday night, it was Bollywood bash night at the Gupta's 3-bedroom home in Metro Detroit. Right? My dad became Bollywood karaoke coordinator, right? And he didn't have a LinkedIn profile. He didn't get a salary, but like it was clear to him and everybody around him, he was living his Dharma.
Yeah. Suneel Gupta, thank you so much.
Thank you.
The book is great.